Welcome to Career Cafe, where we bring our difference and make our difference. I'm your host, Kaylee. Welcome to Career Cafe. Today we have Leeanna joining us.
Hi, Kaylee.
Hi, Leeanna. How are you today?
Very good. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. Before we get started into the questions, how about you introduce yourself and a little bit about your career journey at Loblaw?
Sure, thank you. So my name is Leeanna De Angelis. My pronouns are she and her. Currently, I'm a senior manager of HR planning and strategy for our centers of excellence. I've been with our company my latest stretch, 14 years.
Wow.
But I also started off in stores. So I started when our Loblaw's Glen Erin location opened as a cashier. And through that role, I moved to different departments, got to work in different areas. And I had a store manager that really taught me about operations and what it meant to run a store well. And so I learned so much from him. I did leave the organization for a bit, but a colleague that was going on a parental leave called me and said, would you be interested in covering my department manager position? So I interviewed, I was successful in the role. I became a department manager at actually the same store I sort of grew up in. And then I became an assistant store manager as well. So I really loved my time in the stores, and I feel such a connection to our colleagues and our customers still. But at one point, I decided that I really wanted to make the move to store support. So I became an associate merchant with merchandising and procurement here, managing garden department. And then from there, I was there for quite a few years, 8 years or so. Wow. But I really wanted to make a career change and really align the work that I was doing with my interests as well. And I had great interactions with HR. I took some career assessments that said, you know, HR is a great field for you. So I had coffee connections with people that were working in HR to get to know more about it. I went back to school evenings and weekends to get my HR designation. And then about 4 years ago, I moved into an HR role here as well.
Wow. So you've really kind of taken your ownership of your career and moved between several different departments, store to store support, went back to school to learn about HR. So I feel you took ownership of it. But what does taking ownership of your career growth mean to you, and how does that show up in your day-to-day?
Yeah, thanks, Kaylee. You know, taking ownership means taking ownership. It is your personal responsibility. So it's about learning more about the organization and what we do and how your interests go along with the organization, the different areas and what they do. So for me, it was really about making connections. I am a strong believer in making connections, learning about the work other people do, their roles, and also understanding how I fit into that and how transferable skills can make me successful in any area of the business as well.
Awesome. And when you made those connections, did you also ask for feedback? And if yes, how do you ask for feedback?
Yeah, so feedback for me is ongoing. It's not one time of the year or one type of meeting that you ask for feedback. It's ongoing. And it's also just not at the completion of something. I found that some of the most impactful feedback I've received has been in the process as well. So I know for me, it's natural to say, you know, you've completed a project. How did that go? What did you think? But what's been most impactful for me in my development and growing those skills is in the midst of something that I'm working on or a project, asking those questions. Is this what you anticipated? Am I moving in the right direction? How would you do that? Those are the items that really have helped me use feedback to guide my career as well.
And would you say that asking for feedback kind of in the process of completing something has really helped you learn new skills or develop and improve?
Completely. Because what I think about feedback is Often we get feedback about something that's past, but the feedback you receive should really be something that feeds you forward. So it's not really only about the specifics of the work you've done, but what are those skills that made you successful in delivering that project? Or what are the skills that you need to improve on the next time? And when you really understand that feedback is rooted in that, helping feed you forward, you understand the skills to apply going forward, the things that you did that made you successful, or what you need to take away and work on so the next time you are more successful as well.
Amazing. Really good advice.
Thanks.
So when it does come to, year-end performance review time, how do you personally prepare for your own performance review conversation? And what's your mindset going in?
Yeah, to me, and I've said this before to people that have asked me, it all starts actually when you start setting your goals. And you should really take the time to set goals that are relevant to the work you're doing, but also SMART goals that are measurable, that you can assess against. And you should think about not only when I'm achieving this goal, what do I want to come out of it, but what are the skills or traits or learnings I need to have to accomplish this goal. And so when it comes to year end, the first step I take is I review my goals. I look to see those specific and measurable steps that I said I wanted to take, and then I evaluate myself. How did I tactically deliver against the goals I set for myself? And I make a list. When I have my discussion with my leader during the year end, it's a discussion. It's not a download of my leader to me, but it's also a discussion from me to them. It's an opportunity to advocate for my accomplishments, but also discuss those areas in which I want to improve and get their advice on going forward. Then when they give me that advice, it's important that I use it. And so I synthesize what they said to me and say, how do I apply it going forward to be more successful? And I really embed that and build that into my next goals and my actions.
Awesome. So speaking of how you embed the feedback into your next goals and your next action, can you advise of a time that you've taken that and how that feedback has helped you grow, maybe change direction or take a new opportunity?
Yeah. And I think sometimes when we think of feedback, we think of it from a manager to their direct colleague. But some of the best feedback that I've received in my career has been peer-to-peer, has been colleague to colleague. And so I really suggest take feedback wherever you can get it. And in one instance, I did a presentation to senior leadership, and a peer of mine called me after the presentation and really had a rundown of how it went as well. Where were there opportunities, but where did I really excel? And the next time, what should I build on to do that? So I caution everyone to say, feedback is a gift, and at times feedback might be difficult to receive, but if you take it and you're constructive with it, the intent is there. Everyone has positive intent when giving you the feedback. They want to see you develop, they want to see you grow. So think about what you do with that. Do you take it and you reflect and you say, I don't think that was the case? Or do you take it and say, that's a perspective I never thought of. And in order to do this, I'm going to take these steps going forward. And so I really encourage people, look for feedback from many sources, from peers, from mentors, from colleagues that you work with on a project, because they are great assets to your development.
Mm-hmm. That's really good advice, that peer-to-peer, or even leaders that aren't your immediate people leader. They always have good advice. And I find that at Loblaw, everyone's very willing to share their time, their experiences, and give that collaborative candor.
Yes, exactly. And it's how you receive it as well. I have a fantastic mentor who's always teaching me, but also always challenging me. So that would be my advice too. Let yourself be challenged and react. Sometimes people see more in you than you see in yourself. So put a little responsibility in their hands as well, and trust.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So you've given a lot of really great advice and really great suggestions. What's one piece of advice you would like to give other colleagues to help them take ownership of their development and get the most out of their performance conversations or even feedback that you haven't shared yet?
Yeah, I would say development starts with you. You are the driver in your career, but we are such a great organization. We're not just a grocery organization. We are a digital company. We are a marketing company. We're a technology company. We are a pharmacy company. There are so many opportunities for you if you find them here. So my suggestion would be find what you love, what fulfills you, which brings you joy when you walk into an office or a store or a distribution center every day, and go after that. But you have the tools here to do it. You have the connections that you can have with people to learn more, to understand the skills you need, and also the development opportunities. So get in the driver's seat, take control, do what you have to do, and make those connections. Making connections has been one of the most fulfilling parts of my career here.
Awesome. Well, I have one last question for you before we end. How has, being given feedback and taking in that feedback really help you bring your difference and make your difference at Loblaw?
I loved my time at the stores. I truly did. And for me, bringing my difference and making my difference is always connecting the work that I do to the stores, to our employees, to our colleagues, to our customers. And so getting feedback has allowed me to be genuine to myself, but also align feedback with my purpose, to help colleagues at stores, to help customers as well. So when I get feedback, it's an opportunity to take those, develop new skills, and apply it to the purpose I feel.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining, Leeanna. It's been lovely having you.
Thanks, Kaylee. I've really appreciated it.